Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Pinpointe Unfiltered. I'm Rachel.
And it's your boy Josh, the realtor of realtors. Hope everyone's doing well today. Rachel, who is this lovely guest that we have on today?
This is Amy Quan, everybody. She's the co-founder of Brderless, which, if I got this right, is a technical knowledge platform for founders and operators.
You already
Um,
lost me. Already
yep,
lost me.
I'm
I'm
lost,
done.
so I'm gonna ask so
I'm
many
done.
questions about that. Um, she's also a repeat founder. Previously built, I believe, Paperplane, which was a professional development network, and YHOC, a health tech startup acquired by the government. And Borderless
Oh,
is her latest venture focused on turning real founder experience into practical, usable knowledge. So, Amy, welcome. And please
welcome.
tell me if I got any of that wrong.
No, you got it right. Thanks for having
Okay,
me. Super excited.
cool.
Awesome. Awesome.
Awesome.
So,
So,
for layman's terms, just
yeah.
all around boss. Like, boss. Yeah, I feel you. I like that. That's very respectful.
Yeah. So, to kick things off, can you tell us what Borderless is, what you mean by tactical knowledge platform, and what inspired you to start it?
Yeah, Borderless, I started actually from like a point of frustration, honestly. So when I was I was in consultant before, I started Borderless and then was actually thinking of, looking for some like startup experience. Then I kept finding myself, in like events that look great on paper, like big name, big talk, but like founders walked out without anything like really actionable. And before this, as already covered, like I built like two ventures before. One is kind of similar to what I'm building for Borderless right now. We help like more than 20,000 students or like young professional learn professional soft skill. And then so those experiences really show me the power of building systems that actually work for people and not just, shiny ideas. And that's really where Borderless came from. So the need it's like the need for real founder first system that actually help you go from like chaos to like clarities. Um, so I actually built what I was existed to a tactical, community and knowledge hub where founders can actually trade playbooks, not just, LinkedIn profiles. So it began as like a founder series that I actually did similar before, which is like a 2 days workshops, very hands-on. We bring the people who've been there before with 15 to 20 founders who going through their building journeys. And then we believed in like the ideas of curations where, you bring the right group of folks into the same place that where magic happens and where people could be real and what's share what's working and what's not. So it's just like, a quick update on we actually also pivoting and evolving into what we call more than just a knowledge hub after almost a year building this. And now we actually evolving into like more of like a founder operating system where it's like an infrastructure for founder to learn, connect, and grow in one ecosystem. So basically, you don't just go for us to us for like one event for one workshop, but you actually plug into the ecosystem and everything that a founder needs to go from like idea to scale. And soon we will like put all of those together in one platform. And so yeah,
Nice.
so it started as a community, but it's becoming more of like an infrastructure for founders, and we believe that these days distribution is key, and you should meet the founder where they are.
Yeah.
And so these initiatives kind of like help to solve immediate struggles or things that the founder is going through rather than just jamming a bunch of knowledge into one and maybe you're not going to use it now but you might need it later, so that's where we tackling and bridging the gap there.
Yeah, I mean that's awesome. I mean, for context, guys, I met Amy at a Borderless hosted founders breakfast, and I've been to a lot of events, like different types of networking events over the years, and I have to say it was one of the best ones because it was intentionally kept small. And um you could tell, like, Amy, you put a lot of effort into, like, determining who should be there and where they should sit. Like, it was Josh, it was really interesting because she was like, I think it was like in the email, it was like, hey, everybody has a specific place to sit. I curated it specifically. Please make sure that that's where you sit. Um, and then she wrote like handwritten thank you cards to every single attendee. Um, and like she actually did research on like what it is that that Pinpointe's building, what we're doing. So like that's why she wanted me to go, right? Like otherwise she could have just been like, nope, reject somebody else. um and I thought it was really awesome. Like obviously it started off with just people like chatting whoever they wanted to chat with, but then once we all sat down, it was like it made sense that we were all sitting next to each other. um, so like we weren't just like, oh, who are you? Oh, okay, I'm in real estate. We do relocations for tech startups and stuff. Okay, cool. I'm an engineer. Like that would be useless, right? Right. So I thought it was really awesome, and I can't wait to go to, more events. But I think what you're building, Amy, you know, is something that is definitely lacking in the founder community. Um,
Especially for
and
like founders like myself, where you're really making it's like a handbook almost, like a
Mhm.
how to, which is exactly how Rachel has to explain everything to me. It's like being a founder for dummies. Here you
Yeah.
go, Josh.
But by asking other founders, which is really cool.
No,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Yeah. And I think like there's like such a huge power where you sit right in like, the position where you can connect different folks in the ecosystem. Because
Mhm.
then people would come to me, they were like, "This is great. I wish, there could be this XYZ." And then you sit right there in like the middle of, the ecosystem, and you have the power to actually create these like high curated space. And, of course, like I personally also feel like a lot of times I go to like, events where I just don't know who to talk to, who could be a good fit, and you just like end up like talking to the other person for 30 seconds and you're like, okay, great to meet you. And let me go to another person. Maybe that could be a good fit. And you just like it's just the weight and the
It's
hope.
like speed dating.
I was just
Yeah,
about to say it's
exactly.
speeding.
And
But then it kind of feels, I'm sorry to cut you off, but it feels to me at
no
least,
worries.
a little rude when you're like, oh, okay, you're not going to help me.
Nah, I don't need
Yeah.
you. Wait,
So
what kind of business card is this?
exactly.
Ah,
And so of course like when we like host these things, we believe in like if you already take your time to come, I really wanted to meet, the people in the group. I should know what you building, where you are at the journey. So whether this can help you or not. And when you get there, of course, like our intention is to also set people that is more that, relevant or could be, getting some like potential collaboration opportunities in the futures. Um, and that's where you see, the magics where you're like, "Oh, this person is so relevant." Oh, like, you have, like, similar background, or you can actually, like, trade, like, what works, what's not working, because these days, like, it's just there's so much stuff on, like, the internet with, like, AI, and I just think those a lot of of course, like, you can't just, like, put in ChatGPT and ask, like, give me like a playbook XYZ, and it's gonna show you step by step, which is super helpful to get started. But then sometimes you go through a struggle, you want to hear, from a real human who like went through it or like going through it. You feel like, oh, I'm not alone in this journey, and that's happened
Mhm.
to me when I was building in the beginning, and it was like at one point I was super lonely, and I was like, I wish there was like a group that I can just vent.
Yeah.
That
no,
and I
understandable.
yeah yeah, and then I can just share what's going on with what I'm building, and I met this group. It's all like female founders, and we just grab dinner once a month. And I just feel like a more safe space where you can just like come and you talk about what's going on, or you just get some advice, and you feel also like so much more motivated when you
Mhm.
surround yourself with the right group of people. So I believed in like that power of relationships and network too. So,
For sure. I feel like
That's my sentiment for the most
yeah.
part, where I'm a little old fashioned where if I don't know something or I want to like get some type of like knowledge, first thing I usually do is try to contact someone I know that might have the expertise or is like a, third degree of separation from it. I'm learning to use more of the technology side, but to have like a little mixture of a little both is great.
mm, hmm yeah. And like another thing I believe is like, because now there's so many tools and everything, like even like you scroll through like LinkedIn or like, you know, just the internet in general, like isn't reels on Instagram, right? Sometimes you're like, is it a real person? Right? That's like the questions like a lot of people um ask, and because it's so easy to generate those kind of
Mhm.
content these days. So I think like the fact that we curate like an in-person settings that also where you can feel like a little bit of more touch for like the real human connections of like those folks that going through similar phases. And it's just like a nice touch to like, the human side of it and like to be able to actually connect. So I think I truly believe that's gonna be a piece that people really crave for in the next, years or 10 years even.
For
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. I mean, like, also, like, I just wanted to say, like, thank you for including me because I feel like,
Of
um,
course.
the no, well, I'll tell you why, like, I'm so grateful is that, like, because we're a real estate brokerage, we're not often considered, like, part of the founder community, because we're not building a tech startup, right?
Mhm.
Um, we're just considered like a small business, but we are a startup. And we are founders, and we're trying to build something a little bit different than just, a traditional old school real estate brokerage. So I'm really appreciative of you including me because there's so many like events that I try to like register for and they're like, nope, you're not a fit because you're not in tech or you're not now it's not just tech, it's now you have to be in AI.
Yeah,
Um, at least
that's
at
true.
least that's a lot of the events that I've been looking at, right? It's like, oh, you're not an AI, so get out of here. Um, so I really appreciate it because like it definitely feels good to like um to speak with other founders and then there's like this layer of validation, right? Like, okay, like you said, like I'm not alone. Like I thought like it was just me and Josh. Like Josh has always been who I vent to.
That's great.
Thank God for Josh.
Yeah. Now we've been on podcasts together.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
for
facts.
sure. Um, so Amy, you've built and scaled companies before. So what's one lesson that stuck with you and changed how you approach this current venture?
Yeah, so I think, like I built before and I thought, to be honest, like when I started Borderless, I thought I knew everything, how it works. Um, but and then I found myself, feeling a little lost in the beginning when you like actually got pushback from folks. So I had this 1 month that I was just sitting on the couch and watching Netflix every single day because like some people told me, hey, like what you're doing takes a lot of out of times. It's not gonna work. You should why are you putting these much efforts um, into creating something maybe people don't want. And I was like, oh, because I now also never built in like for the US market before. So I was like, maybe that was right. And I was like, why did I do this to myself? Like maybe I should just go and find other jobs at the time. After 1 month. And I was like, one day it just clicked. And I was like, I haven't done it. I haven't tried it. So, why would I believe in those advice? And they also never try it, right? They just
Yeah.
so it was definitely a period of like that challenged myself, like whether I believe in what I'm doing or not. But I was like, deep down, I did it before. I know it's gonna work because I know. And we did like founders interviews. We talked to a lot of founders before we did it, and it just felt right to do it. And so we was like, we launched a few initiatives at a time, and then we stopped. Like I that 1 month, I just paused. Like it was like nothing happening. And and then of course, like when you building something and the momentum is like there and you just pause and then it's so easy to lose momentum. People won't remember who you are. And so one thing is, yeah, like one thing I would say, like the biggest thing even until now is momentum beats like perfections, right? I used to
Mhm.
just overthink everything, waiting for the right time or like the perfect launch. Even like now I just like whenever I come up with like idea, I get some feedback, I just like ship really fast or like listen faster and iterate in public.
Yeah.
Like talk to founders, like talk to people who've been there, ask for some like feedback, ideas. And then with my previous company too, the healthcare that I co-founded, we waited too long to ship. So now with
Hmm.
Borderless, you know, I just like launch, test, learn in real time. It's like every event or partnerships, like it's like an experience for us. Like every founder we meet and we invite. And to be honest, every I've hosted like so many events already, but every time I host something, there's like an event coming up, I'm still feeling as anxious as I as my first event because like I was like,
Yeah, yeah.
we put like this much care and hope people liked it, and it's every time it's like different, could be like different group, could be different types of like experience that we trying, and and that mindset really keep like us like scrappy and always close to what the founder actually did. And end up making a lot of like, great friendships with the founders who through just the events that I hosted. And so it taught me like the fastest way to clarity is actually motions. Like you can
Yeah.
think your way into like a perfect product, right? Because you build your way there. And
For sure.
the second one, and then, I pause there, is persistent. It's like persistent over everything else. Consistency is key. Um, so when I first built my first two companies, there were moments that I generally thought like it was over. Never, I was young, I was broke, I was figuring things out. And, everything that could go wrong, it did. But every time, wanted to quit, even like with Borderless in the beginning like something small kept me going, like one message, one customer, one reason to push a little bit more. So with Borderless at the time, when after that 1 month stalling, what I actually did was they had this coffee shop around where I live. I just like let me just get out there, sit there from 8 a.m. just show up for myself, and then I will figure it out. Just sit there for the
Mhm.
entire day to today, I still sat there. And it's like it's a huge change because like, as long as you show up for yourself, it's like one every progress is a progress. Even like, okay, as long as today if I'm overwhelmed, I just need to send 3 messages, for example. And that experience really wired me to never stop like moving. And, with Borderlands, I don't wait right these days I don't wait for things to be perfect anymore. So I don't let like setback to slow me down or like to really provide the founders with actually what they really need. And yeah, you can't think your way into a breakthrough. You just
Yeah.
you have to like outlast the hard parts and keep building through them, right? So I think like a lot of founder when they're starting out, the easiest thing that they could do when you keep like getting like a lot of rejections, and then the easiest way that they used to usually use to cope with it is like to find an excuse why it's not working and why they should do something else.
Mhm.
And that's why most of the time they just gave up right before things, start moving. So because I always believe when you're at the lowest, that's when things gonna start moving up. It's so close. It's
Mm.
just like one step away. And maybe like one message can actually change the entire like trajectory, right? Like
Mhm.
entire
Sure.
way that you think. Just gotta keep like pushing a little bit. And that's why also having people or folks that going through similar journeys around you matters because they are the one who would be like your support system that and friends and families, and sometimes they might not be able to understand exactly what we're going
Mhm.
through, but I think having the support system really helps too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely, agree with that. I don't have a ton of friends that were, like, really interested in being entrepreneurs.
Mhm.
So my mindset is was just so different, and when, you don't have the results just yet, people that you trust and love and that support you in other aspects of your life, they can be the biggest doubters and the ones that deter you. So yeah, having a group of like this, a place where like-minded people could get together and uplift each other is like super important.
Yeah.
Rachel has me, I have her. Sometimes like people are out there like by themselves, so yeah, I 100% support, and I can't wait for the next event. I'll definitely like make myself available and
Having
want
yeah.
to show up.
We're having a lot more coming up, and we actually just expanded to San Francisco like last week. It
Sweet.
was a great experience, and I think it's just like really motivating to even do more. But I would say like also when I started out, I was also incredibly like lucky and fortunate to have founder friends as advisors and just give me those kind of, insight that they got after years of building for their journey.
Mhm.
And I really, I just feel like, I remember you were telling me, Amy, just do it. It's like consistency is key. You got to keep the momentum going. But, at the time I was stalling. I just did not understand like what to
Right.
do. I was like, what do you mean? But now, like looking back, it just like not just showing out to the public, "Oh, like, I've done this event," but it's more like on trying to push through it and find a way to make it work,
Yeah.
and it's really fulfilling when you get there.
For sure. I think something that you just said, and you touched on it a little bit earlier, um, about, showing up, momentum, consistency, and then not having like the perfect launch and just, kind of just iterating in real time. So, two previous podcasts had completely different topics,
Mhm,
and both of them talked about this. So we were talking to these two co-founders that have like a LinkedIn content agency, and they were talking about how they were planning the perfect launch.
mhm.
It was going to be on like a specific day, a specific time, like it was going to be like super like
Shout out
on point.
Jordan Taylor, love you guys.
Yeah, from not my dad's media. So they ended up having to like move it up. And they were freaking out, like, "Oh, it's not gonna be perfect, whatever." And it happened to be perfect in the moment, right? Like, it wasn't what they were planning, but it worked out really well. And that's like an example, right? Like you might have this idea in your head of what is perfect, but you actually don't know until you do it. And sometimes you just need to release it to the public.
Yeah.
And this other conversation we were having with a mortgage broker, he's the one that actually got us to start doing social media and um and this podcast. And he also was talking about, like when he first told us to get into social media, he's like, don't worry about it being perfect. Just put it out there and be consistent, right? You have to just keep it going. It doesn't have to be polished. You can look like shit. You could be at the gym. It doesn't like, and so, it's interesting that it doesn't matter what industry you're in or what you're talking about. The main thing is that nothing is perfect. You have to do it when you can do it and just keep doing it, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
having that community of people
for
that can
sure.
support you in that, right? Because there's so many naysayers, especially the one inside your head that's like, oh, my hair's not right. Oh, maybe today's not the right day for the launch. Maybe this product isn't just perfect yet, right? Um,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
then there's people that you speak to, right? Um, and and then they kind of give you that like feedback and validation that makes you feel a little bit more encouraged and have a little bit more courage to do it.
For sure.
So, yeah, really, really interesting.
Yeah, and we're
Yeah.
like a perfect example of this where, we
Mm.
started just us kind of monotone talking about like points and like real estate. And now we actually have like legit guests like yourself that like, come on and like grace us with their knowledge, their presence, their enthusiasm. Like it's like we have like a real thing going. Um
Yeah.
and it's like, listen, I'm the guy that's like, I just want to be outside dealing with the clients. I don't want none of this was ever in my like orbit of what being a co-founder was going to be about.
Mhm.
And to get to this point, to see where it's become, it's very nice. And then to like have like interactions with like, people like yourself that kind of just validate all the things and well, not problems, but I would say tribulations, right? Trials and
Mhm.
tribulations that go along with this journey that we're all kind of taking in our own, in our own way. Um it's really nice, and it's also motivating on top of like as we're going through this, I'm getting more motivated. It's like, all right, who's going to be the next guest, and how can we make it this even better?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and then we
And it
like
gets you
actually have
excited.
fun doing this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then it's like,
Mhm.
hey, when's the next time you're gonna be like in the city? Let's have drinks and dinner. And all of a sudden you have a friend group that's like outside of business, which
Yeah.
is kind of how I met Rachel,
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's so interesting. And, like, who knows, like, when this, like, it's about all about momentums, and then at one point, you do, like, a podcast, like, launch of gatherings where, like, you gather all the guests together. So I wonder if
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
I didn't even
wow.
think about that one.
So,
Wait, we're gonna write
wow.
that down. We're gonna have like for like the
Write it down, even
fifth.
though it's being
I
recorded.
from the gathering, like, mindset,
Yeah.
then I was
Well,
like, that
no,
would be really
actually,
cool.
I wanted to like ask you about that because since I've been out networking and being active on LinkedIn the past month, like I've met a lot of like prop tech founders. Um
Mhm.
why prop tech? They just navigate and not navigate. They what's the word? Gravitate. It rhymed. They gravitate to real estate, right? So I'm always finding prop tech founders. And I mean, also, I try to gather prop tech founders because I want to introduce them to landlords in New York City. Because New York City landlords um, typically don't like change, they don't like technology. And I'm all about bringing them into the 21st century, just like Josh. So I
Dragging me
wanted to.
there. Like,
Yeah,
she's like,
I'm like dragging
this
this
is a
giant 6'4"
calculator.
man.
Here you go.
Um, but I wanted to ask, like, how like, we were thinking about putting an event, together for some prop tech founders, or just prop tech companies. So, how did you put on, like, your first event? How did you find sponsors? Did you just, like, fund it all yourself? Like, did you just do all of that on your own? Like, tell me all of that.
So it depends. But, the first one was always, I think I would say from my experience, was always the hardest because when you try to invite people, then they were like, "Who are you?" Right?
Right.
And, to the point, like, I started this first, but with Borderless, we pivoted actually, like, twice now. We're
Okay.
evolving. So the party event I hosted, I pitched Borderless as a no equity platform. So we don't take equity from you, but then it doesn't sit right with me because I was like, okay, I don't take equity from you, but then what do I do for you?
Right.
Like, what do I do for you? Do I invest in you or what do I do? And then the more we do it, the more we found out, I was like, this is a knowledge hub, right? People always get knowledge out of every single gathering. So we called it a knowledge hub and we relaunched as a knowledge hub. Nobody cares if you like launch multiple times. And
Okay.
and then recently we got tons of feedback from like founders. Hey, like I think you way bigger than a knowledge hub. And they were like, "Are you an accelerator?" I was like, "Absolutely not. I don't want to build another accelerator. I just want to meet founders where they are," which I think there's so many great accelerators out there. And I just think that, there's like gonna be evolving a new model where you should meet the founder where they are, out there during the building journeys. And So then this is actually my first time saying it in public. So we're evolving another time into, as I just told you, like a founder operating system.
You heard it here
So
first,
yeah,
folks.
Breaking. Toot, 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 toot,
exactly.
toot, 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 toot. We're working
And
on getting
then,
sound effects and stuff like that. Like, so bear with me.
Yeah, this will be great if we did like editing properly.
no, literally. And then, so to your questions, the first event is actually the first event I hosted was actually a bigger event. So it was like um a 100-person event for
Wow.
founders, and we did like a VC fundraising. I was actually
Mm,
at the time, it's again, I think your network is your network. At the time, I had one of my advisors actually was one of the reasons that really helped me to push to launch Borderless. And we were, we were like, we want to do, like mm, a panel where, I was very new. So I was like, oh, panel is great. You can buy like great speaker. So we
mhm,
got like partners from like different like VC firms because through like some referrals and mutual intros and things like that. So we were able to pull that together. It's just a sponsor. Uh, so I was fortunate to get introduced to like a law firm. We still working with them, and so they believed in us from the beginning. And actually, I remember at the time they were like, you need to be incorporated. Have you incorporated and all those stuff? And that it just pushed us to launch. But then after that, I was just not. Of course, that was with Borderless, the main business model is partnerships, right? At the time, when we even then we had sponsor, but we didn't actually make any money out of it. It's basically just sponsoring the events and then you get the speakers, but eventually, we started refining like the business model and then we do more curated, we're just doing like curated initiatives and then
mhm.
um yeah, so and then on these days with like sponsor stuff, I think we normally I just do a lot of, I just reach out sometimes through like um intro because like if like folks believes in what you're doing and they trust what you're doing, that you're gonna bring like high quality like folks for whoever you partner with, then they will make an intro for you or LinkedIn is also a way to go where you can like find a lot of, potential like sponsors or like partners out there that willing to support the founders. But I think one thing is to also pay attention to what values that the partner can receive. Like, and one thing with like having, of course, partner is that the group that you bring, it has to align with their expectations, right? So, um, yeah. So, and then for the workshops, we actually just self-funded from the beginning because like it was a whole new concept, like 2-day workshop. So people were like, what? Like 2 days? That's a lot. So it's really hard to find like sponsor or like partners who, willing to put out like that much time. And
Mhm.
at the time when I started the first workshop, I was like, I just needed a venue sponsor. Then I got connected actually through a friend of mine now, but I got connected to General Assembly where we usually host our workshop until this day. And it's so funny. In the beginning, they said no. They were like, we're not gonna do these kind of workshops and through emails. And then I was like, I still love to connect. Let's get on a call. Would want to tell you more about it. And she got on
Mhm.
the call with me, and within 15 minutes, we had a deal. And
That's
so
awesome.
I think it's also like the lessons of like not taking no for an answer. You just gotta keep pushing. Um, but like, yeah, it's like I think what matters in when you host an event is like who you're bringing.
Mhm.
And the partner, if you're looking for a partner to like partner a co-host, it's important to find a partner that align with similar target group. Uh, then of course, like, everyone can see the values out of it, right? And yeah, and I was actually helping one of my founder friends hosting like a consumer retail event a few weeks ago, 2 weeks ago actually, and we were able to
Mm.
pull like 30 consumer founder there. We were able to get like some brands to like sponsor drinks. Um, we got like some speakers to come, like some, you know, folks like investors and um, got a venue tech star. So that was a good one too. But
Nice.
I just think like don't stress too much about it. As long as you really make sure to keep the quality and just if you like, okay, I'm gonna plan for next month, then it usually would be ideal to start like planning and reaching out to folks around like 3 4 weeks in, right? So you have
Okay.
time to like also get people, and this also depends on like the format, how big you want it to be, and things like that. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, it's just an early idea that I've been playing with. There's like a real estate week, I think, coming up next
Mm-hmm.
month.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
so like I think there's gonna be like some conference at the Javits Center. There's a few like other events that are happening around then.
Oh, is that
Mm-hmm.
Builders? Is that the Builders event? I'm sorry.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that's what it
I
is.
think
Hold on.
no, I think it's like co-op something because like I don't know. One of them is like the one that my brother's going, and then it's the same week that like Paris was like invited us to that poker tournament thing. Yeah, so I was just thinking like, the people that I know, we could put them all together, invite other folks, keep it kind of small and intimate,
Mm-hmm.
so that it actually makes sense, right? If you just like have a happy hour and everybody's just like standing around, that's not really useful for anybody. So yeah, it was just an idea. Thanks for, enlightening us on how you've
Yeah, of
you've
course. Happy to
started your
help.
first one and all that. Yeah. I'm sure I'll ping you later and
I
ask
was
you more
I was
questions.
gonna say just keep your phone on because there's gonna be a ton of questions that I'm gonna come up with,
Oh,
and I'll be like,
always happy to
hey,
help. Yeah. I know,
Yeah.
like, it's hard. I believed in the power of giving. Like, when
Mhm.
just give generously. Of course, like, it's important to set boundary with things that, like, don't align with your values, but overall, my ethos is just to give. Like,
Mhm.
once because everyone has somewhere to start, and it's always hard to start, and once you get through that point, then you know what you're gonna do or like what works. And I just think like giving is so powerful that it's like you always it's feel good for me. Like it's like one of my values. So I'm always
Yeah.
happy to help or like brainstorm stuff together. I usually
Appreciate
have
yeah.
these kind of like sessions with like friends, like founder friends, or sometimes it's like folks that I really connect with. And just once a week, even like last week in SF, it was like my flight was at 2:30, and I was able to like get like a lunch with like one of my friends that we met at the founder breakfast. We were really like, oh my god, this is like we love building the stuff there. So we just got like that lunch and just like talk about a bunch of ideas and how we
Mhm.
can do it. And it's just so fascinating, and you like coming up like with so much creativities of like things you can do. And of course you're not gonna take like everything and do everything, right? But it's good to have those kind of brainstorming sessions because keep pushing you like to actually do it.
Yeah. I think having that ethos of giving is really important. I'm finding that in the founder community as I'm getting more and more into it. Some people are very protective of their time as they should be. But others are more willing to be like, yeah, I'm, happy to chat for, 15, 20 minutes, see what, like, if there's anything that I can help with, which I find super valuable. Like, especially you talked about how, just in Borderless, you've had two pivots. Pinpoint, we just started as 3 years ago, a little bit over 3 years ago, as a regular traditional brokerage in New York. Earlier this summer, we were like, okay, this isn't growing as fast or as well as we wanted it to or expected it to. And a lot of that has to do with market dynamics, right? And the economy and all the different things, and housing policies. Um, so we like, pivoted into this like relocation program, right? But it's all very new for us. Like, asking people and telling people about it is, like, scary and feels good at the same time, if that makes any sense. Because, like, when I spoke to you about it when we met at your breakfast, you're like, "Yeah, this is a huge need," like, you know, this is why you're here, right? Like, because, you moved here also, like, you know what it's like to move here. It's it's really difficult. Um and having like a resource that you can rely on would be huge. So like for me it's like getting a getting the courage to ask people and to tell people like what I do, but to ask for feedback. Like I've already done that a couple times, like, with some founders that I've known, like one of them is in SF, but he knows enough about New York. So like he gave me like 15 minutes last week, which I really appreciate. Um, there's like somebody that I met at an event last week and he's like, yeah, I've got some time next week. I can, like, if I can help, happy to help. And I don't expect them to, wave a magic wand and fix all our problems. It's more of like, hey, this is what I'm thinking. Can you
Mhm.
just, like, from your experience, like, how does that sound? Is there anything that you would change about it? Like, does that resonate? Like, because for us, like, we're selling to, founders and, HR and stuff like that in these startups. So it has to resonate. Um, and yeah, it's like, but it's also like, I feel like a little bit of imposter syndrome, even though like I know this stuff really, really well. It's well, no one else has done it, right? People have done relocations, but no one else has done what we're doing or what we're attempting to do. And then it's like, well, is there a reason that no one's done it?
Yeah.
Like,
My
Yeah.
thought is that people are just dumb and like slower than us. So
Yeah.
that's always
Yeah.
my sentiment.
Yeah.
mhm,
I think it's always like so scary to be like, is it because it's never worked or is it because
yeah,
it's it's new? But I think like everyone's that's where I always think ideas are cheap executions. The people who execute are like the main reason why a company could be successful or not, right?
mhm,
Like
mhm,
it's like two of you guys believing this is gonna work. Like you believed, you get over like, all the fears and deep down listen to our intuitions and then know the market so well. You've been in the market. So those folks that like, sometimes you think about it, sometimes like there could be like so many interesting idea that you can do for like some like legacy industry. But it's like sometimes it could be so scary to get into legacy industry because you're like,
mhm,
oh, I don't know what to do with it. Let me and I also think like personally, this is personal opinion. I think like a lot of new companies these days, they look very similar. And I think
mhm,
but then I think there's also like other kind of markets that like could be, you could build like great stuff, right? But it just sounds or like it just seems harder. So then, of course, like, a lot of folks might find other topics more like easier to get started with, right?
mhm,
And so I think like it's back to your point. I think it's so scary to like sometimes like question yourself, but I think it's the matter of like getting over that fears and just like grabbing like 15 minutes like call with someone that you can just get out of it. I had a call with this friend
yeah,
of mine. He's a founder too. We were doing like these initiatives really well, like with like the breakfast and things like that. And then all of a sudden, like we were like catching up, and he was like, "Amy, you're not thinking big enough." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And then we started talking things out because like, and then I realized, yes, there's so many things and that I really wanted to do, but you kind of need to prioritize what can do first. And
Mhm.
then once you're doing something well, you just have the tendency to be like, let me just do this and it's fine, right? It's so easy to get into that loop. And then that was like one of the conversation I was really grateful because it's get me out of that comfort zone that I was building for myself. And I was like, okay, we're doing good. Like, and it's like was actually just like 1 or 2 months ago. And
Yeah. Nice.
it was it was just like a reminder that like, there's so like you need to stick with your visions like bigger than just, a breakfast, for example. Breakfast is
Mhm.
like a way that we showcase the visions.
Mhm.
And that was a great thing to your point of like just sometime and you just like grab somebody's like 15 minutes, 10 minutes, and
Mhm.
then they just like, snapped at like with like some words and you're like it's like a awakening moment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um and so I think like that's why I also think like it's always so great to build relationship, especially those that are high quality or like aligned with your values. Sometimes there could be people folks are building great stuff, but then you just feel like, you don't really correlate or like feel relevant to them, so it's probably come down to like, what your values are and what their values are. Like some folks could be really aggressive. Some folk could be like a little more low key, things like that. So I tend to also be, intentional with like who I surround myself with. And because I
Mhm.
think it's definitely um, matters. And after the call, he literally sent me like my friend. He just sent me a text with like so many words, like big, like just like big, 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 big.
That's funny.
It was it was so funny. It was but he means really well. You
Yeah.
want to surround yourself with people who means well, who want to help you, and you can also help them. But supports energy is important.
Yeah.
definitely.
That's for sure. All right. So I know we're coming up on time here, and I don't want to take up all of your time. So I want to ask you one final question, and
Okay.
then we can wrap up. So, for the founders and operators that are listening right now, what's one insight you wish more people knew earlier in their journey?
Yeah. I would say don't wait to be ready to build relationships. I think my job these days is all about like connecting people or like, building relationships. And I just think like start early is always good. Even like back in the day when I was in college, I know I wanted to get into consulting. Then,
Mhm.
I always start building relationship early because the best founders I've seen, they built like really genuine trust with like investor partners like months before they ever fundraise. And that's
Interesting.
sometimes a lot of first time founders don't realize. And, all of a sudden you're like, okay, next one I'm going to go and raise, but then I have no relationships. Then what do? I'm going to do a bunch of cold outreach and hope investor would invest. I think like it's all about trust. And then, you share learning. You don't just ask investor for their money, right? And
Mhm.
then And I believe like relationship compound, just like capital and long term, your network is literally your operating system. Like that's the core also of what we're building at Borderless. And this whole like founder operating system movement is really what it's about. I think like it's when you build relationship early, even then, you don't know what to do with them today, but you might feel some relevance. As I said, like it's always good to exchange idea because you don't know what they can, one intro can actually push you to like
Mhm.
10 step or like 1,000 step ahead. But of course,
Right.
in order to make those intros or like in order to make those connections, it takes time to build relationship, right? It's not just you get on like a LinkedIn connections and you're okay, good. Well, you in my network, but I don't know who you are. And then 5 months later, when you go and fundraise, for example, you're like, let me see who is in my network. And
Right.
let's say you saw me and we never spoke before, and you're like, all of a sudden, you're like, hi, Amy. It's like you connected to this person. I'm building this. Can you refer me to this investor? And of course I won't, because I was like,
Yeah,
who
you don't
are
know
you?
them. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. At least we have to, it's always good to build relationship early, and like meaningful relationships, because that will be your net worth. Um, and that would get you so far in your building journey, whether it's not just, capital, it's the knowledge, it's the other connections that you can
Mhm.
build. And, it's a long term sustainability thing. So yeah,
I agree. I mean, I keep telling Josh, all we need is one intro. We just need the right intro and everything will change.
exactly.
Um, s- so-
Like, see, my perspective is everything has changed. Everything has changed.
Yeah.
So I don't know which intro it was and like where it came, but it did. And it,
Mhm.
like just knowing that it's gonna continue, so we keep, we keep flourishing those relationships. We keep going out with the same type of energy, like you said. It's about
Yeah.
like-minded people, like seeking, and from the very beginning, regardless of what we're doing currently, one of our core foundations was the development of relationships. Like that was our key. That was when people ask, and because they always ask, it's like, oh, what's your thing, what's your niche, like what does your company like really provide besides the obvious. I always had a tough time like saying it, because I'm like, well, here it is, it's me. This is what I
Hmm.
provide. This energy, this crazy mind that if you tell me something, it might spark something in my head, and then now the juices start, flowing and the wheels start turning. But yeah, we've been very fortunate to build amazing relationships and make amazing connections, including yourself, Amy. Thank you again for being here with us. Hope this is not going to be the last one. You gave us one of the best ideas I got today, which was like the reunion podcast where like everyone comes back. Like I don't even know what we're gonna call that. I wrote it down.
Why don't we just do like an
I'm like
in
podcast
person
recap
event
guest.
for all these people?
Yeah.
It's actually gonna be great, and we're gonna shout you out when we're ready to launch that. Um, and definitely we're gonna try to pick your brain when it's time for us to host an event. So we need your expertise probably.
Yeah. How, of course,
Yeah.
happy to help. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like talking about like fostering relationships, like I hope that we can, connect, outside of the podcast, outside of your events and just kind of connect in general. Cause, always it's it's so hard to find like-minded people, especially in the city where everybody's like really focused on what it is that they're doing
Hmm.
and not what anybody else is doing.
And we're a fun
So
time.
we are a fun time. I do have to admit.
It'll be
Amy, you
good.
met me at breakfast. There was no booze involved, but just wait.
Well, breakfast
Can't
you could
wait.
you
Can't
could do
wait.
Bloody Marys and breakfast. I'm all for a bloody.
There was none.
Well, we'll keep it somewhat
Yeah.
professional for the first
It was
meeting.
it was it was purely coffee and tea.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm good with coffee and tea. Um,
Yeah, I might make it an Irish coffee.
yes.
All right, cool. So, Amy, thank you so much
Of course.
for
It
joining
was
us.
great.
Before we let you go, tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah, we are very active on LinkedIn. Is Borderless, and without the O. And
Mhm.
and then we also have our newsletter, also under the same, like, Borderless, that we usually just send out like upcoming initiatives and events. We do post on Instagram. We need to do better about it. But mainly right now we active on LinkedIn and Luma if you want to find join some of our initiatives. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
All right, Rach, where do the
Um,
people find us?
Cool. We're on LinkedIn at Pinpoint Group. You can find me personally, Rachel Fiegler, on LinkedIn. We're also on Instagram at Pinpoint Group with an underscore. Our website, pinpoint.nyc. We also have a newsletter you can find on our website. Um, I'm a little bit behind on that, so please don't hate me. What else? We have this podcast that you can
Podcasts,
find.
wherever you listen, watch all your
Yep, YouTube,
podcasts.
Spotify, Apple, anywhere else. I think that's it. Josh, they can find you on LinkedIn now.
Yeah, they could, I'm a
Um,
new LinkedIn. I don't know what you
We need
call
to
that.
we
Um,
need to be connected, Josh. I don't think
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
I'm.
he's got like 8
I have
connections. He
like eight
needs help.
connections. Don't, I'm working on. Look, I'm working on
The
it.
new
Okay.
creator.
A new
But
creator.
mostly, like I say always, you can find me out here in the streets making these deals, connecting with people face to face. I do it the old school way, people. Amy, thank you so much for joining us today. You were very, very informative. I love it. I love what you guys are doing over there. I can't wait to be a
Thank
part
you.
of the next event. I'm definitely gonna be there. In person, you see me in the
Yep.
streets. Like I said, we'll connect in person before LinkedIn, most likely. But no, um, guys, thank you so much again for tuning in. Please send all your like questions, things you want to hear us talk about, people that you want us to try to like get on the podcast. Let us know. We do our best to provide a great product and a good service. Thank you so much, Rach. Always love.
Love you. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Amy.
Thank
Peace.
you. Thanks for having me. It was
Peace,
really
peace,
fun.
peace.
Thank
Have
you.
a good
Bye-bye.
one.